Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Alien Romulus director explains the ending of the film. Oh, yes. Explains why it looked that way and things like that. So, full spoilers. Full spoilers. The ending explained by the director himself. I like it when the director comes out and explains these things. He's done it in an interview, so we'll get to what he said. He also explains why there is a connection. I've given you full spoilers. He also explains why there's a connection to Prometheus and things like that. And I don't hate the fact he's connecting it to everything. He's like, look, we've got to embrace them all, which makes a lot of sense. I can see why. Otherwise, you are then picking and choosing. I will say, I think a large portion of that was probably down to Ridley Scott as well, but we'll never know. We will never know. So, for those that don't remember, or a quick explanation, there's a hybrid creature that pops out at the end. And, yeah, it's a result of the black goo and a human. It's interesting. It's really interesting. So, let's take a look. This is an article over on Variety. And like I said, he basically just explains it. He explains the new monster and explains the connection to Prometheus. So, full spoilers. Says this: when Fede Alvarez decided to make Alien Romulus, he knew from the outset that he wanted to honour not just Alien and Aliens, the most acclaimed and popular films in the series, but its entire mythology. Quote, I was like, we have to embrace them all, he tells Variety. I respect that. I respect that. He can't be the arbiter of, you know, what is considered canon as a filmmaker in, you know, sort of fresh in the franchise. He just can't. That's what the studio needs to be the arbiter of. So he's just gone, it all exists. Let's just work all of it in, I guess. And the studio could have changed stuff. But again, I do think some of this came from Ridley Scott. So anyway. Yeah, we will scroll a bit down from this. You know, some interesting stuff about Ash. I've done a video on that already. The Ash likeness in Rook. But then it says this. Anyway, so... Though he says he enjoyed giving Holmes' likeness one more opportunity to appear on screen, Alvarez stresses that the logistics of accomplishing those sequences prohibit similar ideas from happening with any frequency. I remember someone saying, this is it, they're going to replace us as actors, and I said, dude, if I hire you, it costs me the money of one person. To make it this way, you have to hire literally 45 people, and you still have to hire an actor who does the performance. And it goes on to say, bringing back Ash, or an Ash-like character, feels like a bit of a no-brainer. The original Alien is not only a masterpiece, but known frame by frame by fans of the franchise. But a sequence during the film's climax, this is the ending explained, further connects the action of Romulus to other, notably less well-liked chapters. Prometheus. So, recap. In it, Kay, Isabella Merced, gives birth to an unholy hybrid of human and alien DNA. And this is after she lost a significant amount of blood. So, for those that don't remember, Kay came out of the Corbalon, fell down, obviously. The alien chased after her and stood there waiting in an effort to lure the remaining crew. So that's Andy, Rain, and Tyler, I think was the chap's name, the character's name, into the room so the alien could have them all. Obviously that didn't work. And the alien grabbed Kay in the process, you know, making her lose blood. I think it stabbed her with its tail and pulled her away. And then later in the film, the group find Kay again down in the hive. She's lost significant amount of blood. And as Rain puts her in the elevator, you know, she goes up, etc. She essentially is concerned for her and her baby's life because she's pregnant. So she injects herself with the mutagen. It does actually make sense. You know, the motivation at the very least. She had lost a significant amount of blood. She was very pale. It does make sense. So there's a bit of a quick recap. But anyway, so she gives birth to an unholy hybrid of human and alien DNA. Not only does the creature branded the Offspring, by the filmmakers resemble the engineers, the alien race that conceived humankind, but it also echoes the silhouette of the humanoid xenomorph that a cloned version of Ripley births in Jean-Pierre Jeunet's Alien Resurrection. And it is pretty much, it's very much the same sequence, to be fair. Surprisingly, Alvarez says he actually hadn't thought of the latter connection until his son pointed it out at the film's premiere. He had recently watched with a buddy of his all of the Alien movies, and when The Offspring comes out, he goes, "It's like in Resurrection." I hadn't really processed that way, but it's true. It's this abomination that comes out. The director says, explaining they'd actually been more focused on the mythology of Scott's prequels, Prometheus and Alien Covenant, which explores the genetic building blocks of humans and aliens both. I was hoping that people picked up the whole engineer part of it. They did, and I don't think they liked it. Some people did. A lot of people didn't. But they definitely picked up on it. So it was intentional. It is supposed to look a bit like an engineer. So he goes on to explain this. The black goo is the root of the whole thing that was introduced in Prometheus. It's the root of all life, but also particularly the xenomorphs come out of that thing, which means it has to be inside them. It's the xenomorph semen almost. You what, mate? So he thought, if it affects your DNA, and the engineers clearly came out of the same root of life, did they though? Did they? Did the engineers come out of the same root of life? Did they? Did they? That's not something I picked up from Prometheus and Alien Covenant. I never thought the black goo made engineers. I thought the engineers made the black goo and then made xenomorphs. But alright. Interesting. So we thought if it affects your DNA and the engineers clearly came out of the same root of life, it made complete sense to me that the offspring of a human and a xenomorph was going to look like that. Far from reconciling the various plot lines and chronologies, Alvarez admits that the resulting life form probably raises more questions than answers. It's probably a new species, because that mix never happened before. Did the engineers clearly come out of the black goo? I thought they used it to populate life, not to create themselves. What? I guess you could say that they did. I mean, he's explained it, but he's not explained it, because that doesn't make too much sense. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Love to hear your thoughts. It's fascinating stuff. So, yeah, it was supposed to look like an engineer crossed with an alien, because apparently the engineers come from the black goo as well, according to him. You know what? This might be, just as an FYI, this might be one of those very revealing things that he's actually let slip because he's had conversations with Ridley Scott, and this might have been where Ridley Scott was going to go with the franchise. You never know that. I don't remember the engineers being part of the black goo, though. I remember them ingesting the black goo, but not being stemmed from it. So, interesting stuff. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? I wasn't a massive fan, not going to lie. I like this film a lot, but I wasn't a massive fan of that. Still, had me on the edge of my seat. It was a pretty tense scene overall, and it did look disturbing. With its weird, like, flappy hole thing where its genitals would have been. It was really weird. The whole thing was just bizarre. But I guess that's the point of it, isn't it, I guess? Anyway, let me know what you think. Cheers, take care. Bye-bye now.